This is Ruth Mead, and I am working on creating some more short videos related to different strategies that will be helpful for individuals who are learning how to compensate for areas of weakness. So the one we're going to focus on today is reading comprehension. If you like my videos, feel free to click the like button or subscribe and share them with other people, because that helps me to get them out to more people. It just helps the whole process of expanding this channel and making it more useful. So feel free to like and subscribe, and if you make comments down below, that's good too. Please tell me what was helpful about this, or what you would like to see me do more of that would be helpful. For now, let's just walk down through this. This should be a fairly short little video because I don't want to spend too much time. I want to make this small chunks of information that somebody can watch in a shorter period of time that they find helpful for reading comprehension. So let's just look at some basic things that are quick strategies that help with reading comprehension. And this goes across any age. If you're a parent watching this, then you can apply this to your kids even at a younger age, but you're going to do it a little bit more simply, all the way up through college level, people who could benefit from learning how to take simple steps in their reading to strengthen their comprehension of what they've read or how to approach it. So let's just jump right into this. So the first thing you want to do, even before you start to read, you want to do some pre-reading, some scanning, some predicting. And then you're going to do some initial reading and decoding of things, and then you're going to confirm and try to... Fluency means that you're going to be able to read through it a little bit more quickly, and then ungluing the meaning from the print means you're just going to try to grasp what's actually there, so that you can get to a point where you can read to learn new things, and then as it expands, you get to a point where you can learn from multiple viewpoints. Then you can construct some kind of an idea related to all the stuff that you've been reading, or reconstruct your ideas that you had from your pre-reading. So that's kind of the goal of where we're headed when we do stuff with reading. So let's boil all that down to a few quick words. We're going to predict, we're going to read, then we're going to summarize. Then after we summarize, we're going to compare, and then we're going to try to do some writing. So before you read, you predict based on the headings or titles or questions listed at the end of a reading section. If you take time to predict before you read, then you're automatically reading, looking to see whether the book says what you thought it did or if it's somehow different. This is not about being right or wrong. It's about comparing your perception and your perspectives with someone else's and learning more as you do. This helps you think outside your own perspective and thus broadens your understanding and your knowledge. So 6 basic questions to always ask before or after reading anything. Who? What? Where? When? Why? And how? That feels very simplified, but you can expand each one of these a little bit, and I'm going to do a simple expansion for now that we can develop into a greater depth depending on your age and how many years you've been reading. So let's do some expanding here. So we're going to expand these 6 questions to go deeper. And as you're doing this, you're going to make some short notes beside each question, and then read the passage and compare your notes with what you actually read. So who? Who wrote this passage? Or who is this passage talking about? Or possibly who won something, or lost something, or learned something new with the passage that you're reading. There are other who questions that you could ask, but these are some basics. What? What did they write? What is the passage about? What did they win? What did they lose? What did they learn? What was the purpose for them writing? That's another question you could ask that I didn't type in here. Where? Where did they write? Where were they living? Where is the passage happening? Or where did they write to? Sometimes you're reading a passage and it's written to an audience that's not even in their country or where they are. Or where did they win? Where did they lose? Or where did they learn? Sometimes you can answer that question with what you're reading. When? When did they write? When is this passage happening? Winter, summer, spring, fall. A long, long time ago. Or very recently. Was it just yesterday or was it years ago? When did they win? When did they lose? Or when did they learn? Maybe they didn't do any of those, but if they did, when did that happen? Because sometimes the sequence of when things happen becomes very important depending on what you're reading. Why? Why did they write? Why was this passage written? Why is this particular subject important? Why does it even matter? Why did they win? Why did they lose? Or why did they learn? How? How did they write? How did this happen if there was an event? How did they win, lose, or learn? How many people or objects or events happened? These are very simple questions, but as you write them down and make short notes about each question, then when you go back and read the passage and compare your notes with what you actually read, then you can check off ways that you thought the same, or you can note some things that you had not thought of that were different. And that's where the whole comparing, constructing, and learning new perspectives helps you. So this is just a quick thing that you can do when you approach a passage and start reading it to help you strengthen your comprehension of that passage. I hope this is helpful. If you find this helpful, again, make some comments, like, share, subscribe, and tell me down below some other things that you would like to see or questions that you have based on what I did in this little clip. And I wish you a blessed evening.